which is how do you come out winning? And you just keep working, rechannel or pivot and change some of your focus. But specifically for me, I think this time last year, or maybe even a year and a half ago, I was kind of in this negative mindset of there's not good deals out there. So everything kind of overpriced. It was a seller's market, and this was the whole mentality. And so I struggled for several months not having
A great book can totally challenge your conventional thinking and change your life for good. However, some of us just don't have the luxury of time of sitting down to read a book. But there are some instances in which we do have that time, and these are perfect times to learn. So we can learn while driving instead of jamming to the same music on the radio, or maybe at the gym. Well, now you can. Dwellin has partnered with Amazon's Audible to give you, the Dwell listeners, a free book. Yes, a free book. So all you have to do is go to audibletrial.com/dwellin and download your free book. This will also be in the show notes. You can click on the link. And if you don't have a book in mind and you say, Ola, I don't actually know where to start with. Well, awesome, because I can tell you one to start with today. It's a quintessential classic. It's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So download Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and that would basically just take your mind on a different spin. Of course, I'm always open to hear from our Dwell listeners. So email me at ola@dwellin.com, and then feel free to also give us a rating and review. This really helps us to rank better in iTunes. I can't wait to hear from you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us here at the Dwellin Show. My name is Ola Dantes. I'm with the awesome Danny Randazzo. I saw Danny a couple of weeks ago at the Best Ever Conference. Danny has been on the show before. He's doing great things. He's got traction, and he's got a great new book out. So I wanted to bring him back, just kind of catch up with him. Hey, Danny, thank you for joining the show.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, my pleasure. So obviously for some of our Dwell listeners who did not hear your first show, which was a couple of years or so back now, can you just tell the Dwell listeners a little bit more about who you are, what you've been up to lately, actually?
Yeah, as I was getting ready for this show, I was thinking about being on a couple years ago, or at least a year and a half ago, and a lot has changed since then. So partners and I run our team under the name PassiveInvesting.com. And so we purchase 150 unit plus value add multifamily properties where we can add value kind of in that C to B class range, where we're able to go in, do some renovations, increase the value of the rental rates, and ultimately increase that asset, and working with passive investors, and just have been doing that for quite a while now, and are really gaining some traction. We've got a good deal that we're working on in the Southeast U.S. We've got a great team, and just really excited about that transition. And I think back to that first interview that you and I did, Ola. I think it's just been a great journey to date, and I've really embraced that journey. It's been certainly challenging, ups and downs. I at times didn't know what to do, I should say, from that fulfillment perspective. And so, I think it's just been a great journey to get to where I'm at now.
You said so much in that, and you're absolutely right. A lot of ups and downs in this game. And frankly, I feel like a lot of us don't want to talk too much about the downs. Maybe we think that we're going to have a negative impact, right, on the listenership. But I think it's important just to humanize real estate investing, right? Because every time I go on my Facebook now, it's, usually a post of somebody that's bought like 5,000 or 50,000 units. And look at me, I'm like the best human being alive. And, I don't get sad. I just buy apartments every day. So I think that's really, 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 really good that you brought that up. So, not to kind of be a downer, can you kind of walk us through, because obviously I don't want to have the same interview with you as we did, a year or so ago. Can you talk about some of the downs, and, how have you managed? I mean, I've definitely had mine a lot, actually, since we've last spoken. How did you kind of manage that, and how did you kind of come out winning?
Well, I'll give you the second answer first, which is how do you come out winning? And you just keep working, rechannel or pivot and change some of your focus. But specifically for me, I think this time last year, or maybe even a year and a half ago, I was kind of in this negative mindset of there's not good deals out there. So everything kind of overpriced. It was a seller's market, and this was the whole mentality. And so I struggled for several months not having, for us, that's the name of the game, is to acquire and add value and kind of trade properties and always be trading up. And so I was getting pretty frustrated. I know, my wife and I were certainly trying to work things through with what we were going to do with the business, because we've got, several goals that we're trying to accomplish through real estate and through, financial well-being. And so for us, it was really imperative that I get focused. And what we decided to do prior to, about a year and a half ago, we were focused on commercial, multifamily. I'd look at a mobile home park. We look at short-term Airbnb rentals. And so we were kind of all over the place, but it was all in a market that we liked. And so that's what I was telling myself. That negative mindset kept creeping in and saying, there's no good deals out here. We're not moving along. We've got bigger goals than this. And so we did a conscious pivot in our business and expanded our scope outside of the one market we were looking at and brought in the Southeast US. And now within the Southeast US, yes, that is big, but we're focused on a couple of markets. And I would say like 3 to 5 where we can know it inside and out. Through that time period, through this journey, I've met and developed relationships that eventually led to having good partners. And I can't stress that enough. And having a team around you is imperative, because you can only do so much as, 1 or 2 people. But as soon as you have some economies of scale and partners that can help, or where they're just better at it, and guess what? They like doing it. It makes the business function at such a higher level where I can focus on all the things that I like to do and add value to it. And so going back to the question of what some of those down moments, and I would say having a negative mindset, not thinking that there's deals out there. And the big one was just doing the same thing because that's how you've had success in the past. And that one was big. I just thought I could not have to do anything differently, but making a conscious pivot and change for us helped tremendously. And so when I kind of look at the first half of 2018, it was slow and sparse and negative mindset. When I look at the second half of 2018, that period was really good, and it's carried that momentum. You said the word traction. I think we've got that now with our group at PassiveInvesting.com. We've got a ton of traction to carry us forward and keep things going. And so, that's a couple examples of, how through perseverance, hard work, and of course, determination. I was thinking about that this morning. I got up early. It's, 7 Eastern for us, and passed 2 people. And the streets were sparse, not a ton of traffic at all. The sun wasn't even up yet, but I was out there just being diligent and disciplined and focused so I could come into this interview at 7 with the best mindset and intentions possible. Just loving life. So
yeah, that's good. I really love that. I mean, that's definitely finishing up on a high. So I noticed something in your background. I just think it's really cool that we have to talk about it. It's the money tree, right? It's the money tree. What's that about? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's actually on the map. You can see some of those colors are scratched off. And so when my wife and I travel places, we scratch off on the map. We're color here in the southern tip of Africa. We've got a lot of North America and Central and South America. So Asia, China, right up in here. So whenever we go somewhere, I started collecting currency from every country, 40 different country trips. And I think I've got about 30 different currencies on the tree. And so when I was growing up, I can still hear in my mind, my parents saying, Danny, money doesn't work. Here's my money tree right here. I'm going to show, I've already showed my parents this, but they think it's hilarious. But I love this thing. It represents so much to me. I'm not a person who likes to surround myself with stuff, but this to me, by traveling and seeing the world, and I think that's so important for people to just be well-rounded individuals, better humans, and understand different cultures. So go out and travel. But the money tree, I just love it. It's going to continually grow, a fuel to my success and my journey, where I can really embrace some of the reason why, again, Ola, like people like you and I work hard is so we can go and enjoy these things and do, fun activities. And I'm going to work on growing this tree pretty soon.
Yeah, that's awesome. I should definitely tell my wife that. Yeah, we obviously, as you know, we're avid travelers. We love traveling too, and yeah, I wish I should have done that actually. Just because we were in Bali and the Philippines in December, so I wish we did the same thing. Just keep collecting. I love that idea. It's really cool. It's fascinating. It's really cool to watch, and the scratching of the map. I love that too.
Yeah, I rarely buy any souvenir stuff, but currency fits so nicely in, and I don't mind taking really good care and extra special attention of it because I know where it's going to go when it gets home.
Awesome. So I think definitely you did something amazing. Recently you wrote a book, right? And not just writing a book, you wrote a book for kids. I have a baby daughter. I'm in love with kids. I think kids are just an absolute fantastic addition to the world. Without kids, I don't know where the world would be, obviously. So I love the fact that you did that. Before we go into the book, why write a book, and why write a book for kids?
Well, the book really stems back to my childhood. In the first book, it's based on a real life story of myself. I'm going to have a 5-part book series. So each book is going to really hone in on a different lesson I learned really early on, and either through mistakes or through just doing. But it's an opportunity for me to share with the world, how to be protecting your money, how to work with money. Money is a taboo conversation in most households around the world. And I just want to, or adults and young people, to have conversations about money and what it means inside the home, because I think you learn so much as opposed to at a school or at a formal, education center. So that being said, the source, someone told me money doesn't grow on trees, and I was just fascinated by how to utilize money to its fullest extent and control the money, not have money control you. And so I think if people are able to understand every month to cover their expenses, they can have a much more prosperous mindset and be fulfilled, happy, and really embrace joy throughout the month. And so I know that's a burden for a lot of people of just not knowing where the money's going to come from to pay expenses. But, the first book is all about protecting your money. And so what happened to me as a really young person, I lost my wallet, and it was detrimental. My net worth went from like $120 or something to zero. And it was emotionally traumatic. I couldn't believe what had just happened. And a single lesson, that emotional traumatic event as a young person, I took and protected my money. Lesson laid a tremendous foundation to where I'm at today. And, being able to travel is not inexpensive. You can certainly do it in an affordable fashion, but protecting your money, knowing where it's at, and keeping it safe allows you to do really where the first book stems from, is from that traumatic emotional event. And I want to share that lesson with everybody around the world so we can start having conversations, like I said, in the home. And money should not be a taboo thing. It shouldn't be some private thing that, just Ola knows how much appear or magically disappear when the time comes and goes. And so I'm just really excited for people to be able to talk in a fun fashion and talk about a little fun story that is going to teach a tremendous lesson and hopefully help, a couple of people of their financial destiny and become whoever they desire to be.
Man, that is just so powerful, Danny. Thank you so much for writing that. I always think of my baby girl and I was like, wow, I know how to win now. I know so much information and I wish that, I can just start teaching her, everything now. Obviously, she's going to be turning 2, so, a book like yours will be very, very important and key, or a book like Rich Dad Poor Dad, just to make sure that we don't pass on some of the, content that our parents passed on to us, right? But some of the things they passed on, they didn't know, that they weren't aware that, of financial freedom or passive investing. They didn't know this thing. So we didn't expect them to pass it on to us because they didn't know. We do know, so we can pass it on to the next generation. And I'm so thankful that you wrote that. And I can't wait for the others. I'm going to be buying, your copy as well pretty soon. Yeah. Just before we go into, the quick rounds, where can we get this book?
Book is available on Amazon. Just search The Boy Who Lost His Wallet. It's a #1 new release in the education space, so you should be able to find it pretty quick.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. So obviously, we definitely dwelling into the quick rounds. These are going to be quick questions, quick answer. You ready, sir?
I am ready.
All right. You've heard this before, but I'll do it again. So, very first question, what makes Danny unique? What is that differentiating factor that separates you from the next guy to the next girl? And you got to have a different answer this time, right?
I will. And my answer is going to be that I believe what separates me, my absolute belief in what my vision in my mind is my reality. And so kind of whatever I dream up and whatever I put my mind to, I just know I'm going to accomplish it. And so that kind of mindset, I think, separate my vision is my reality.
Wow, I like that a lot. That's a good one. Next question. What was the last book that you read? And what was the one thing that you picked up from that book?
I am reading right now the book called Influence. And it's a little book written maybe in the 80s or 90s. And so it's got some very interesting approaches. And what I learned is how people are influenced. An example is reciprocity. And so, Ola, thank you for having me on. You could know that if you email me tomorrow with a favor, chances are I'm going to instinctively say yes because you've had me on and how people have utilized it. So pick up the book and learn about reciprocity.
Wow, I love that. That's a good one. Final question. You kind of talked about it already, but you can have a different answer if you want to. You've got obviously the book. You said you're going to be having a new, 5-part series. You're going to be writing more. You're going to buy more apartments. You're going to be doing a lot. You've got your beautiful wife. You got your family. You're doing a ton of stuff. What do you do for fun?
For fun, my wife and I travel. We walk our dog George, and I play golf.
Nice. Danny, thank you so much. If you're listening to this and you want to get a book for your son, your daughter, your niece, your nephew, anyone, go get Danny's book. Thank you, Danny. I cannot thank you enough that you've been on the show.
Ola, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. And if the Dwellin listeners need anything at all, just please reach out.
Fantastic. Thank you. You may have heard the phrase, there are 1,000 ways to make $1,000 in real estate. Well, now you can actually tune into the world's longest running daily real estate investing podcast with over 1,000, believe it, or 1,000 podcasts and still going. The best real estate investing advice ever show is hosted by a very good friend of mine, Joe Fellas. Joe talks to influential thought leaders who share the best advice ever with none of the fluff. You've got to check this stuff out. So listen and subscribe at bestevershow.com. That's bestevershow.com.